You know, I hate humble pie. It's rubbish and it's overrated. So instead, let's focus on what I love, and that's the wise listeners of the podcast and the excellent thoughts they shared on this season finale episode of Your Packers Fan Podcast.
I'm Scott Clark from The Gaming Outsider, and the only word I can use to describe my feelings today is heartbreak. To say I'm bummed out would be an understatement, not only because of the Packers' elimination from the season, but also that this is the last official episode for Wayne and I to celebrate the green and gold with all of you.
I know. I thought for sure we had at least 2 more episodes in us for this season. Rats. And podcasting since 2005, I'm Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com, and I admit it, I let this game get to me a lot more than I should. It's so incredibly sad, but we're going to get through it together, folks. This is episode 249, and this time on Your Packers Fan Podcast, Scott and I will recap that nightmare of a loss at Lambeau Field, including our weekly poll question results.
And we'll share your great listener feedback and talk a bit about what's next for the podcast in the future. We've got a lot to talk about there. So even though this was a devastating loss and eliminated the Packers from the playoffs, there were some positive things to talk about, and most importantly, that opening drive. Quick, short passes and runs, moving the chains, capped by a rushing touchdown by A.J. Dillon. I really thought this was going to be a domination game after that first drive. We were firing on all 8 cylinders. It was cool to see, and I especially like that there were no forced deep throws. They were just taking it chunk by chunk by chunk. And then for some reason, we just decided, that thing that worked, let's stop doing that. But we'll get to the low lights in a minute. But how did you like that first drive, Wayne?
I loved it. In fact, my overconfidence going into the game went even higher after that game. I was borderline unbearable. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, that's pretty much it. I mean, the rest of the game was just so hard. I mean, Davante Adams, he did have 9 receptions for 90 yards, made some stellar grabs, proving that he's one of the best in the league. And then the wheels just came off for no apparent reason, at least on offense.
On offense, the defense in general was pretty solid. It was like, where has this defense been all season? They were just doing great all around. You had Amos intercepting in the red zone to keep the Niners from scoring early on. That was great. We had a huge stop on 4th and 1 with only 6 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game, and we had a 7-point lead at that point. Garoppolo was sacked a total of 4 times, and the Niners' offense was held to less than 40 yards by the time they had their first score. It was incredible to see. And then Rashawn Gary really stood out as well. He was just an absolute beast. 2 of those sacks were Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, all by himself just about.
Yeah, it was really awesome, and I was like, this is great. This is the defense that we've been praying and hoping for, and unfortunately, it just did not happen on offense. And that pretty much wraps up the highlights of the game. That's about all that went well, which sounds like a lot. If you think about it, that's a lot of things going well. They didn't even have a score in the first half, did they? Did the Niners score in the first half?
I forget. They might have had one of their field goals. I mean, their offense didn't really score a touchdown the entire game, right?
Yeah, exactly. There was no offensive touchdown. Yeah, so the defense did their job.
Yeah, the Niners' victory can certainly not be put on the shoulders of Garoppolo.
No, absolutely not. And unfortunately, and we'll get to the lowlights now, the biggest blemish we had is our special teams. Once again, it's so disheartening to know that we completely lost this game because of special teams. Granted, the offense didn't do their job. Outside of that opening drive, it just nothing was happening. But bad punts, blocked punts, a blocked field goal. I don't know if you saw it, but that final field goal of the game that won the game for the 49ers, did you see that we only had 10 players on the field?
Yes.
For that play?
I mean, our special teams, it's been quite a terrible year all the way around, though we did have some fantastic punting early on in the season. The rest of it was not well. And then the last few games of the season, things kind of got shored up a bit. We weren't being as horrible, and we even did some good things. But then when it mattered most, the wheels just flew off, blew out a tire, the engine melted down, and The only bad thing we didn't have happen on special teams was I don't think that we had any problems with returning the punts and kickoffs. We didn't have any fumbles or bouncing off people's face masks or anything like that.
Right. Everything was fielded well and, ran back to get us at least past the 25 almost every single time. That was really good to see. It's just, I don't know. It's so disheartening, man, that the reason we lost was special teams. Special teams, it is so vitally important. And none of it was Mason Crosby's fault. I know that people are going to blame Mason Crosby for the missed field goal. It was blocked. He can't help that. Bajorquez and his punt, he can't help that it was blocked. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And the fact that was just returned right away for a score is just absolutely devastating. Special teams, I'm so angry right now.
Just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And then injuries. They raised their ugly head again. A.J. Dillon, my guy, I was counting on him to carry the team into the end zone for multiple touchdowns. He got some sort of chest injury. We haven't heard too much about it, but he wasn't even able to be, shot up with any painkiller and continue on. So it must be pretty bad. I'm confident that we would have won this game if A.J. Dillon had not been injured, but that's the way the ball bounces. The second half is usually his best time. He would be running like a machine. Was not meant to be. I'm sorry, A.J. Dillon. I know you didn't want that either. And didn't Darnell Savage get injured early in the game as well?
I missed that one. I was unfortunately not able to go to the game like I said I was last week. So I was watching this game at a bar with some friends and my wife, and I could not hear the announcers. As you can imagine, in a bar full of people, it was very difficult to hear. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, which, there's some positives for that, but so I could not hear anything about Savage. But and then Jones was used more as a receiver than a running back, it felt like. So our running game was definitely hurt by the loss of A.J. Dillon halfway through that game, and our offensive line just played like garbage. Rodgers was sacked 5 times this game. And I thought Bakhtiari was back. What happened? He played last week. Where was he last night?
I guess he either re-aggravated the injury a little bit and they were just protecting him and keeping him out. But it makes me wonder, did we bring him back too soon by having him play about a half in that Lions game? But he was missed more than ever. Yeah,
for sure.
Aaron, even though he was only sacked 5 times, and I say only because Joe Burrow of the Bengals was sacked 9 times, and still won the game. But Aaron didn't have any time to do anything except for that first drive.
Yeah, that first drive was great. And then like I said earlier, it felt like the offense just decided, that stuff that we were doing earlier, we're going to just forgo that and try something different. It just drove me crazy.
Because just looking at kind of the numbers coming out of the game, Devonta Adams, like you said, 9 out of 90. Alan Lazard got 1 reception for 6 yards. Mercedes Lewis was targeted once, but couldn't hang on to it because it was so cold. And that was it. Where's all the other receivers? I'm sure. I mean, I saw Cobb, but what's going on?
I don't know. That's kind of been the Packers' MO, is like how many targets Rodgers has, and he just did not use all of them. I don't know if the secondary in San Francisco was just that good, because, we can't really see all the wideouts from the view on TV. I just don't get it. I understand that Adams is a beast, but there's a reason that he only caught 9 is because he was covered so often. So you got to spread that ball out.
I know.
And it felt like Rodgers only had eyes for Adams once again, and that never works.
Yeah, because the games that Adams has missed due to injury or COVID or what have you over the past 2 years, I think we won all of those because we forced ourselves to spread the ball. Now, granted, the other receivers might have been all covered, but I don't think you could cover everybody. I was counting on there being a touchdown from Cobb. Counting on it.
Yeah, I was as well.
Oh, my goodness. It's just one of those things. And, Scott, make a mental note next year on the podcast. If we're starting to get super excited about the possibility of being the number 1 seed, remember to remind me how well it did not work out for us the past few years. Say, number one seed. Blah, who cares?
Yep. Coming out of the bye is apparently our curse, especially when we're playing teams from California.
Yeah, it looks good on paper. It really does. I mean, even the AFC #1 seed, the Titans, out. So what good did it do either of us?
Exactly. Well, I know that we're kind of down in the dumps, guys, and I apologize to our listeners that this does not make for a very exciting listen. But as you can tell, Wayne and I are both deeply depressed by this loss from yesterday. So you heard our thoughts, but it's time to hear some of your thoughts as well. Once again, our listener feedback voicemail line is area code 920-3PACK-GO. Don't forget the +1 at the beginning of that. Or you can also send your voice message to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com to be part of next week's show. Normally Sunday is our deadline, but obviously there's not going to be a game for us next week, so there's no deadline. We'll have to give you a deadline for next season for sure. Let's kick things off with Andre in L.A. Please, cheer me up, buddy.
Hey, guys. Andre in L.A.
Oh.
What a disappointing way to end the season. I can't even muster a Go Pack Go. It was a great year. I'm happy the team, we did better. Defensively, I like what I saw on the run. I like what I saw on the defense, but their defense was just incredible. I mean, we had a lot of opportunities, man. A lot of drop passes. Man, special teams. I mean, we talked about it, and we didn't want to talk about it. And man. But what can you do? It's our team. We'll look forward to next year. It'll stink for this week and maybe even through the playoffs, but what can you do? Green and gold till I'm dead and cold. I just wanted to call it, get out the way. Love you guys. Andre in LA. Go Pack Go. Love you guys. Next year.
Oh, man, I have never heard a guy in more dire need of a hug than Andre. Andre, I wish you were here, man, so I could just put my arms around you and tell you it's going to be okay, and we'll do better next season. But it was a great year. I felt like we were playing a lot better all around. I mean, we had some things to iron out on defense and, let's be honest, special teams. It is going to sting for a couple weeks, especially being here in Bear Country. I'm not one to normally call out, but just some of the reaction in the absolute glee that I've been getting from some fans from Chicago is just kind of makes me sick to my stomach. But it is what it is. At least the Packers made the playoffs, I guess.
But we are definitely looking forward to next year, Andre. And I think what will take the sting away for me will be whoever the Niners face next week, whether it's the Bucs or the Rams, whoever wins, if they can just knock out the Niners. That will make me feel, I mean, if it comes down to Buccaneers, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers versus the Niners, I'm going to actually be rooting for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yep.
One time only.
Yep. And then rooting for whoever in the AFC to win the Super Bowl. Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm truly hoping, not just because of bitterness, but I would love to see the Bengals and the Bills in the Super Bowl. That would be a lot of fun,
since they're both AFC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You'd like to see it, but
I'd like to see it. I meant to say Bengals and the Rams is what I'd like to see in the Super Bowl. That would be cool. But it's time for the Bills too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I mean, a year ago, before all the trades and things happened, if we would have talked about, I think next season Matthew Stafford has a better shot of being in the Super Bowl than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, right.
Like, are you kidding me? He's a Lion. Oh, what? He's not a Lion anyway.
Not a Lion anymore.
Andre, thank you for all of your calls. And although you couldn't have a Go Pack Go at the beginning, I'm so glad you were able to get one at the very end of the call.
Hey guys, it's Megan. It's like 10:30 Central Time, Green Bay time. And I'm on my way to work. I had to call and say something before I went to work. I'm sure everyone is bummed. Obviously not expected, other than we could have maybe expected special teams to make some blunders. I don't think that San Francisco won the game. I think that we lost the game. It sucks. Aaron and Devontae were clicking and they were doing good. I thought running game was great. A.J. Dillon, they said something about his chest, but Jonesy had a great game. That was brutal. Feel bad for the guys that worked, like, their asses off to get back for this. I get that anything can happen in any game. It's just brutal at the end when there's so much on the line and to overcome this much. Green and gold on dead and cold, 100%. We'll definitely be thinking of the guys tonight and Matt, and I just hope they're not too hard on themselves. It was a hell of a season. Did not end the way we wanted to. Go Pack, go. I'm trying to be excited. I love the Packers. I love our squad. I'm sure you all feel me. Green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Always and forever. Thanks for the podcast, guys.
And thanks for giving us a call, Megan. Greatly appreciate it. I know you had a long work day and then you made it home in time to watch the game, and then it was basically time to go back to work. And so we appreciate you calling us. 10:30 Central Time. That must have been right about when the game ended or just shortly thereafter. And yeah, I wasn't expecting us to lose either. But like you said, Megan, we kind of always expect special teams to, let's just say, struggle. That's one way to put it. And yeah, the Niners didn't really win that game. We lost that game, mostly on offense and special teams. And the players, they did put their hearts on the line. I haven't been able to bring myself to watch all of the post-game pressers just yet, but I just kind of saw screen grabs and quotes and things. And yeah, the general consensus was none of us expected to lose or for this to happen. And I feel bad for all of us, but I really feel bad for the players because they put in all that work and all that time and all that specialness, and then just didn't happen.
Yeah, and I mean, just those two voicemails we've heard so far, you can just feel the deflation in the voices of Andre and Megan. Even worse than when those footballs when Tom Brady was playing with the Patriots were just even more deflated than those balls. It's just depressing. It's a bummer, and I don't know. Hopefully, Jared and Josh in Colorado can cheer us up a little bit because I need a little spike of positivity. What do we got?
Wayne and Scott. It's Jared in Colorado calling in with his good bud, Josh, also in Colorado. The pain is immeasurable. The defense showed up. The offense didn't show up after the first drive. And as so many Packers fans said throughout the entire season, the special teams would cost the Packers the game when it mattered the most. And it did. And that's really all there is to say about tonight's game. It just hurts. But in the meantime, my buddy Josh has some words to help keep things in perspective.
Unfortunately, if you guys land in purgatory, I definitely feel your pain, and I apologize for the sorrow that you guys are about to come upon. And if we get Aaron Rodgers, we will take care of him like he was one of our own.
And if you are wondering who he's referring to, he is a Broncos fan, and he would be happy to get Aaron Rodgers. Who knows what happens next year? Even if we keep Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of guys that, unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised he ends up getting traded because the Packers are just in cap hell. But hey, as we always say, green and gold till dead and cold. As always, go Pack, go, baby.
Boy, Jared used another great word there to describe the pain, immeasurable. That's definitely a good one there. And yeah, special teams. Just like we were worried about, we're going to lose this when it mattered most, and that did for sure happen. And I had a feeling Josh was a Broncos fan when he started talking about that. So, and he did do that. It looks like he also added some extra points via text. He said, our defense showed up in flying colors while the offense just didn't. Receivers couldn't get open, players dropped passes, Lewis fumbled, and the offensive line just could not protect Rodgers. Aside from a few bad decisions by AR-12, I can't even say he didn't show up because when you factor all of that in, what quarterback wouldn't struggle to put anything together running for their life all game long? And the special teams, their fecal fest of a performance all season long finally cost the team when it mattered most, and they did so with the greatest hits album of their worst tendencies in one game. A blocked field goal, allowing long returns, a blocked punt in which the unit just stood there as if the play was dead while the 49ers unit was looking for the ball. All in all, it just hurts. These last few playoff runs have been ended by opponents capitalizing on some of the glaring season-long deficiency somewhere on the team. The Pack just cannot seem to put it all together when it matters most, and it made all the more crappy considering, whether via trade or retirement, AR-12's window is closing. And with that, what has been the best possible chance for making the Pack 14-time NFL champs? I don't know what's in store for next season or even in the next few seasons, but what I do know is this. I'll be donning my green and gold and rooting for the Packers and next time Lambeau is open for business. Cheers, Wayne and Scott. Until next time. There's the positivity I needed, Wayne, for sure. I wanted to go back because we didn't even talk about it when that blocked field goal happened. Nobody was looking for the ball. I mean, we're just kind of standing there like, oh yeah, it's. Did they know it was blocked? Were they not running down to defend?
No idea what was going on. Did everyone's brains freeze up because of how dang cold it was? Because I think the refs were having trouble like pulling out flags because there weren't very many flags in the game, and they were doing a lot of just standing around like everybody's getting frostbite or something. It was just crazy to see on TV in my comfy, warm Southern California living room. Drowning in the tears of sorrow and disbelief. But always good to hear from you, Jared. And Josh, thanks for coming in and giving us the positivity that if by some chance Aaron Rodgers really does end up a Denver Bronco, that you'll take care of him.
Yeah, and way to end it on a positive note, too. You know, this wasn't our season, obviously, but nothing's going to stop us and hold back our resolve for rooting for the Packers no matter what happens.
Right, because it's unfortunate in some ways, but every single team in the NFL, all 31 teams, except for that one, ends their season dejected and just starts slowly looking forward to next season. And that's what we'll do as well as fans. Let's see who else gave us a call at 920-3-PACK-GO.
Wayne, Scott, Art from Texas. Oh, man. Special teams. Man, I don't even know what to say. I really hope Rodgers comes back again. Because a lot of people, we're going to lose a lot of people. Because of the we're way over the salary cap. Man, I don't know why Rodgers kept trying to force it to Adams. I mean, we've done so great when Adams is not playing because he spreads the ball. I mean, I'm not taking any credit away from the Niners defense, but I mean, I just thought he should have spread the ball a little more. The defense played great. The defense was really good. Special teams, oh man. I think even when the Niners kicked the winning field goal, I think we had 10 men on the field. It appeared that we did, but well, it's just gonna be I'm curious to see what Rodgers is gonna do in the next few weeks, maybe months, to see if he's gonna come back. But I sure hope that most of the team stays intact. There's a lot of free agents out there that we might not be able to afford. But it'll be a tough one to get over. So, but it was great being with you guys for another season, and I'm looking forward to the next one. For now, green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Go Pack, go!
Art, thank you very, very much. Go Pack, go indeed. And yeah, oh man, special teams. What else can you say, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I know, we talked about the 10 men on the field for that final play. Like, what are the chances that that one extra guy would have stopped that field goal from happening? It's very, very slight, right? To me, that happening is just more of a spotlight on just how horribly managed special teams has been this season. I'm not saying that's what lost us the game by any stretch of the imagination. It's just almost like a hilarious fact that shows just how bad special teams was.
And to have it be our very last play of the entire flippin' season.
That's a good point, too. Last play of the season, we only had 10 guys on the field. I mean, come on.
What would have been fantastic is if we only had 10 guys on the field and we were able to block it and run it in for a TD.
Right.
But unless we fix our time machine, I think that's not what happened.
That's not going to happen, no.
I agree, Art. We do hope Aaron Rodgers returns, but that salary cap, wow. I don't know, Scott. Any chance at all that the NFL is going to raise the salary cap through the roof in time?
No, I honestly hope they don't. I mean, I just don't. I don't want to play that game. It's fine. It's fine.
Because, like Art said, we have a lot of free agents, not just Aaron Rodgers in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And Art also noticed that AR-12 just trying to force it to Adams all night instead of spreading it around.
Go, Puck! Go! Go, Puck! Go! Hey, guys, RJ in LA. I'm calling because last night after the game, I left a sad message, and I was very disappointed. And I see a lot of people online today being a little defensive because they're coming after Rodgers for silliness and whatnot. You know, when we win, we talk trash. When we lose, we got to eat it. You know, I'm not a fan of the Cowboys last week when they lost. You know, I gave it to them. We just getting it back. I think that's how people got to take it. I think people were kind of getting a little emotional behind it. We had a great season. Yes, it's very disappointing to lose in the playoffs. Yes, it's very disappointing to lose in the playoffs at home. And it was even more disappointing when the special teams all year was bad, and they essentially were one of the main reasons why we lost the game. But Adams had a great year. Rodgers had a great year. Jones had a great year. LaFleur had a great year. The defense looked great this year. We just didn't win. You know, it's a part of the game, winning and losing. You know, this is still our team. It's still green and gold till I'm dead and cold. And just, you know, get ready for next year. Enjoy the playoffs. You know, thankfully, Tampa's losing right now. I live in LA, so if the Rams win, I'll be happy for them, happy for Stafford. Kind of highlights how bad the Lions have been, that they may have had a Super Bowl quarterback. Heck, if the Chiefs win, I don't care. You know, I'm a Packers fan. But I think some people are getting a little too emotional behind these games. It's fun to watch them, to root for your team to win. It's disappointing when they lose, but it's still fun just to watch football, especially on a Saturday or Sunday. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry I got a little preachy, but love you guys. I know I left a bad call. I want to get the bad taste out of my mouth. Go, go. Love you guys.
Andre, it's always so good to hear from you. Thanks for giving us another call after a good night's sleep and getting a bit more perspective. We really appreciate it, especially the reminder that we should all have a little more perspective. It's so good. Not preachy at all. It was great to have that. And it's kind of the uplifting note that we need, as well as the reminder that enjoy the rest of the football games. I mean, the Green Bay Packers aren't in there, but still, we love football. Let's enjoy them. Let's have some fun, and we'll just see what happens. And then, of course, it'll be time to get ready for next season. And Andre, very much appreciated. Have yourself a great off season. The next thing you know, we'll be getting ready for the next one. Go Pack, go. And speaking of the Aaron Rodgers situation, for our weekly poll on Twitter this week and in the Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, sometimes, Scott, you just have to ask the obvious question. So, even though it's insanely early, the season just ended 14 hours ago or so, do you think that Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams will be back for the 2022 season? Do you think both will be back? Maybe AR-12 will be back, but Davante Adams won't. Or do you think Davante will be back, but not Aaron Rodgers? Or are both of them gone? What do you think, Scott?
I think they're both gone.
Oh, you're killing me already.
No, I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen. I just think that, Rodgers' personality is one that he's done with this organization. Did he play a perfect game? No, absolutely not. There's a lot of errors that he made, but he did pretty much all he could do. I think it was either Art or Jared up top that said, there's only so much you can do when you're just running for your life the entire time. And to lose a game because of special teams, which he has no control over, has got to be just completely frustrating. I think he wants to end on top, and we've been here before. Look what happened with Favre. I think that neither will be back. I don't know if they're going to, I mean, I'm sure Adams will go somewhere, but I don't know if Rodgers is still going to play. But I think that if either of them play, or if Rodgers plays and he's not there, Adams for sure is not going to. So I'm going to say neither.
And I think that since there are quite a few free agents at this time of year for the Packers, it's really hard to say because so much of it hinges on Aaron Rodgers, not only whether or not he'll be our quarterback, but what he will cost us financially as to whether we can deal with the other free agents. So, like I said, it's insanely early. I think they're both going to be back.
Yeah? I knew you were going to say that.
How do you know that I'm going to say these things?
Because I know you, man. I know you. You are the epitome of positivity.
I think when it all shakes out, after another crazy offseason full of rumors, innuendos, and he said, she said, and all that stuff, I think they'll be back.
There's a long time between now and then, too. So.
Right, and you know the media. They are going to be stirring up stuff probably a week after the Super Bowl. So be ready, people. Well, the votes that came in, wow, Scott, unfortunately, 56% of the folks think the same way you do, that neither AR-12 or Devontae will be back. We've seen them play their last game as Green Bay Packers, because I'm not going to count it. If they do decide to play in the Pro Bowl wearing Packers helmets, that doesn't really count.
That doesn't count, no.
And then in second place, 29% voted saying Devontae will be back, but not Aaron Rodgers. 11% are positive, like me, that both will be back. And 4% said AR-12 will be back, but not Devontae.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I think that the Packers are officially in rebuilding mode. They're going to start rebuilding right away. They're going to start focusing on Jordan Love, expecting the worst news from Rodgers. I just think that it's going to be a long uphill battle. We've had our 25-year stretch now between Favre and Rodgers, and I think I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm just kind of expecting the worst. Next season's going to be really interesting, and fingers crossed I'm wrong, because I don't want that. But anyway, the memes have been popping up all over the place after this loss. And there's been lots of talk about the future of Rodgers, and one meme popped up, has a picture of Rodgers, and it says, Rodgers says he'll take time to talk to people around here and then take time away before making a decision about his future before free agency starts. So basically, that's a whole lot of non-information. Of course he's going to talk.
That's a lot of non-information.
It is. Of course he's going to talk to people and then make a decision. I mean, it's just... there's way too much time. It's way too early to even speculate. I mean, we just did speculate, but our community weighed in with some comments as well. First off, Ben said, I just don't see either of them letting it end this way. And the way Rodgers talks in post-game interview, he will not be sticking around for a rebuild, which makes sense. But if they can keep somewhat of a playoff caliber team together, he may come back. Garrett also said the cap situation dictates a dark time ahead. They can't afford to keep both without a lot of others leaving and the cap growing in a bad way. It's not impossible, but I'm not sure they're willing to do it. It's not in Green Bay's DNA to do things in a manner that negatively affects the future for something that is not a given. This year was their best chance. I'm kind of with him on that.
Wow. Yeah. I hope not, but we'll see. Aaron Arnett says, I think Rodgers will be back for one more unless he decides he's tired of being portrayed as a monster by some people. Brandon. Rick in Wisconsin says, I feel like their connection is so good that if Rodgers is traded away before Adams' contract is done, he would likely follow him to the new team like Brady and Gronk.
I agree. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I think he would have more success than Favre did, going to the Jets and then going to Minnesota. I think he would do better. So, well,
I saw Favre play with the Jets when they came to town to play the then San Diego Chargers. Favre was already nursing an injury, so that didn't go well. And then he got his way to Minnesota, and it was like on.
We had some other great posts and comments unrelated to the poll question that were made in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community group, which you can find at packerscommunity.com as well. First off, superfan Aaron Peterson from the Hollywood Outsider podcast says, so, if Favre has more postseason wins still and Rodgers doesn't come back, doesn't that still make Favre Green Bay's best quarterback? That's an interesting question. I've been a staunch Rodgers supporter. I still hold firm that he is a better fundamental quarterback than Favre was. Favre was more exciting, but I will say that I think Favre was a better leader in terms of positive morale and focusing on football instead of things not really related to football. And that's about as far into that as I'll get without getting myself in trouble. But I honestly don't know how to answer that question because Favre had, one Super Bowl win? Rodgers had one Super Bowl win. But
Favre did go there 2 years in a row.
Right.
Favre really brought the fun. He really did bring the fun and so much personality. Now, I do love the fun that was brought this year, though. For me, one of the highlights was beating Chicago in Chicago and the I still own you. I still own you. That was epic.
Yeah. It is a fascinating question, and the conversation is still continuing to build over there. Scott Boris had a great reply. He said, although Favre may have more postseason wins, Bart Starr has the better winning percentage. That is what matters to me. The guy was 9-1, and he never lost at home in the playoffs. Interesting.
Boom, mic drop.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sir Troy Heinrichs envisioned our special teams coach prior to the blocked punt telling the players, don't look up.
That's helpful advice.
That is a callback to the recent Netflix movie. I don't know if you saw that, but interesting movie to say the least.
Oh man, my buddy Aaron Arnett from the Aaron Arnett Show podcast. I actually thought San Francisco had no chance to win that game. You and me both, Aaron. I know you must be in shock. I am. Honestly, neither team played great football. The whole game came down to a kick and a punt. I guess we should change the phrase to special teams wins championships.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or maybe, Scott, it should be special teams loses championships.
Yep.
Dan Dyler, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow, shared a video, actually, of him getting amped up for the game, getting into his Pack Sparrow mode. And I love the Christmas tree that was Packers colored in the background. Also had a photo of his girlfriend getting ready for the game. And Troy shared a picture of him putting on some of his game day layers. So apparently he survived. Dan also commented after the game, more thoughts and comments to come later in the group. But this has been one of the worst officiated games I've seen since the Fail Mary. There seems to be a narrative, and it doesn't include the Packers or Aaron Rodgers.
I will not stoop to agreeing with that. But,
I don't know. Keep in mind, Dan was at the game. He saw more than what we saw on TV.
We saw a closer look. I think he's referring to that catch and fumble that was ruled not a catch. I think the rule is you got to take 2 steps in a football move, and the receiver took 1 step in a football move. So it was close. It was close, but as much as I didn't like it, I still think the right call was probably made.
And David had this takeaway. Rodgers finally had a defense play well, and he can only muster up 10 points? Yeah, the special teams sucked and were a big reason we lost the game, but you're not going to win many games with just 10 points.
Agreed. Although, the 49ers are the number 5 defense in the league, according to an article I read. So they are a good defense, but you got to score more than 10 points for sure. Scott Boris also commented, everyone is going to blame the special teams, which isn't without fault, but that offensive play calling was what I feel really killed this team. Yeah, I agree. I tell you what grinds my gears. You hear all the people who cover the NFL say LaFleur, McVay, Shanahan, are offensive geniuses. Do you know the one thing all 3 of those coaches have in common? None of them have a Super Bowl ring. So how much of offensive geniuses are these guys really?
Oh, something to think about.
Yep. Megan C. said, how extra sad is it that former Bears kicker Gould gives them 3 for the win? Yeah, that's a lot of what my friends have been reminding me of. And shout out to Megan. She's actually the parent of one of my students at school. So thanks for writing in, Megan.
Very cool. And to make it even more painful, like we talked about earlier, we only had 10 players on the field trying to block. It just makes me want to facepalm, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we know our season is over, but that does not mean the conversations have to stop. You can join the Facebook group, be part of the conversation as we head into the off season. Let your voice be heard, especially when we get back to the next season. Those live game day discussions are a ton of fun and always a good time. Moving on to emails. We got one email. Says, "Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher from Green Bay. Well, what a disappointment. What a disappointing game to end a great season. We had good plays. The special teams didn't help at all, allowing a blocked field goal and a blocked kick. Although I don't want to say it, I think this may have been Rodgers' last game playing for the Packers. Hopefully we'll make it next year, but not holding our breath until next season. Go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold, CCR." Thank you so much for the email, guys. Really do appreciate it. And as always, your calls, emails, comments, and support are so much a part of the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you for the most amazing season of sharing your thoughts. You are definitely why the Packers Fan Podcast is the show by fans and for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. Remember to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversation at packerscommunity.com. And finally, before we wrap up, our score predictions this week. I predicted that the Packers would win 27-21. Wayne predicted 29-19 in favor of the Packers. Well, that didn't matter because we both picked the Packers to win, and they did not win. However, I thought it was pretty interesting that the score differential was exactly the same. We both were off by 25 points exactly, so it would have been a tie regardless.
I just wish the Packers had 25 more points.
Yeah, you and me both. Which means that for the third season in a row, and keep in mind I've only been on this podcast for 3 seasons, Wayne has won the 2021 to 2022 season wager of fun by a score of 7-6, which means I now have to watch 2 episodes of Doctor Who, and I assume I know one of the episodes that you're going to make me watch.
Well, sometimes the most obvious answer is the correct answer. Yes, we will be watching Blink together in some fashion. Scott, I'm going to put you in charge of the how to do this, where we can both watch them together, sync up our DVRs or what have you, our streaming devices, but broadcast it on Twitch or some other alternative. And if listeners, if by some chance you want to join in on that fun and converse a bit, we'll get that sorted out, post that in the group. And did you say that you had a friend or somebody at work that had a suggestion of like maybe 10 other episodes to choose from?
I think so. She was talking about that. She would recommend one. I think the Blink, is that the name of the episode?
Well, definitely Blink. Blink is an episode that everybody needs to watch because it's so standalone, but still gives you the essence of some of the coolness that can be found in Doctor Who.
And she said she's a huge Doctor Who fan and had all kinds of suggestions.
So have her get together those suggestions if she has some, and I'll post them in a poll in my Don't Blink Doctor Who Facebook group for my Doctor Who podcast, and we'll have some of the other Doctor Whovian experts vote on what should be that other episode.
Sounds good. I'm actually looking forward to it because I want to see what all the hubbub is about. I have seen one episode. I saw the Van Gogh episode, which everyone says is like one of the best. So, and I enjoyed it, but I still felt a little lost with what was going on because I don't understand what Doctor Who is.
Right. We're not going to pick one that's going to be something to make you even more lost.
Right.
It's like if you're doing if we recommended The Leftovers, if you hadn't already seen that, and just out of the blue, we're going to watch the International Assassin episode.
Yeah. It's not going to make any sense.
What is happening? It's awesome, but I don't understand.
Exactly. Well, back to football. We had some other NFL happenings that caught our eye this week. First off, we kind of talked about it already, but Cincinnati upsetting the Titans. That was really fun to see. Was not expecting that. And a game-winning field goal by McPherson. I saw that the Bengals posted on Twitter saying, "This is why you draft a kicker." Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny. And the games today, we're recording on Sunday, so we don't know the results. But the Rams are at the Bucs, and the Bills are at the Chiefs. So we'll be eagerly watching those to see who's going to be victorious and going to the championship games next week.
It's entirely possible that all the home teams lose this week. That would be wacky. So I'm thankful for another fun year of podcasting about the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers with you, Scott. So many great memories, and what a pleasure it was to get to know you, dear listeners, even more this season. Next for the podcast, basically we're off until April when we start getting ready for the NFL draft, the 2022 game season, the schedule coming out, exactly when we're going to play who. But of course, if something big happens with Rodgers or Devontae Adams, we'll have to have an emergency episode, Scott.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Make sure you keep subscribed to the podcast, because if something happens, we'll definitely post something up there, and you want to get notified that it's there. Don't rely on social media to remind you.
And Scott and I are looking at possibly changing over to a different software solution for when we record the show. There's a system called StreamYard, which has a lot of promise. It could give us a lot of advanced features, possibly even doing periodic live shows like our friends over at the Broad Street South YouTube show. They're Philadelphia Eagles fans primarily, but they had us both on earlier this week, and they had us on last year as well. And it was really cool to be able to be on StreamYard, be live, and they brought in comments from like Caleb Fisher and others, whether they posted the comment and question in Facebook or on YouTube. So it was cool to have it all come together. So that could be happening. And in the meantime, while I wait for the Packers to do something and get ready for the next season, I am available to provide professional voiceovers for your podcasts, intros or outros, or if you have business training videos that need a little voiceover, let me know. I'm at mediavoiceovers.com.
And before I get into my reminder of my other podcast, I want to say a big, hearty thank you to Mr. Wayne Henderson for allowing me to be part of the Packers Fan Podcast for this season, as well as the previous 2 seasons. It's been a lot of fun. Would have been a lot more fun with a win at least one of those 3 seasons, but it's been great getting together with you every week and chatting with you over text and getting to know the community. And I really do. I feel like we've become greater friends despite the tragic loss this week, and I appreciate and value our friendship, man, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And one of these days, E3 is going to return, and you'll be back out to Southern California. We can get that beer, and of course, someday pandemic and all that goes away, I can make it back to the Midwest, and we'll pop by a Culver's and have that butter burger and cheese curds and some, what's the dessert? Custard, yeah.
Custard, there you go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Unfortunately, E3 will not be happening this year. It's already been announced. So we'll have to look at 2023. But speaking of video games, I would like to remind you one last time about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider, which, unlike the Packers Fan Podcast, will continue, at least, obviously we'll come back in April. But this week we had some huge news in the video game industry as Microsoft announced their upcoming acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which is a monumentally huge purchase in my world. We're going to spend an entire week talking about that for our main topic. And we also review new games, The Company Man and Nobody Saves the World. I'd love for you to check out the show. Our website is thegamingoutsider.com. You can find all our reviews and episodes there, or you can subscribe to the same places that you listen to this fine show. One last time, I would like to thank all of our Patreon subscribers over here at the Packers Fan Podcast. We do have a value for value model here, and Patreon is the place that you can help financially support your Packers Fan Podcast, and details can be found at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast. Dan Dyler, your Jim Ringo level support definitely calls for a hearty thank you and a Go Pack Go. And Bryant, thank you and Go Pack Go for your continued support at the Willie Wood level. And Go Pack Go and thank you for your AR12 level patronage, Mr. J. Walters.
Also, thank yous and Go Pack Goes to our Brett Favre level supporters, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, Jeff Summerfield, Andre in LA, Colin Nolan in Ireland, and Scott Bors. And Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Hank Davis from the TPE Network, Matt Haig, Joe Christensen, and Beth Mintick for your Curly Lambeau support. Much appreciated. We thank you. And if you're interested in becoming a patron of the PFP, check out the details, like Scott said, at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast.
And do us a favor, follow the Packers Fan Podcast where you listen to your podcast, and please tell a friend. We are the unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, not yet affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we would love to be someday, so keep your fingers crossed for us.
And follow us on Twitter during the offseason, during the next season, and onward, forever. Go Pack Go. Follow this show at Packers Fan Pod. Follow Scott at GoCastScott. Follow me at Wayne Henderson, and to help get us into the offseason with a better mindset and get closer to rebuilding for next year's Super Bowl run, it's Patreon supporter, Mr. Dan Dyler.
Hey, Packers Fan Podcast listeners. This is your cheesehead from Indianapolis, Dan, and I have just two words for you. Go, 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 Pack, go!